You're listening to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner. Support us at patreon.com/After Movie Diner. Or I'll punch you in the teats. Rate and review us on iTunes, Earthling. And now, here's your host, John Cross.
All right, hello and welcome to the After Movie Diner. We are back after a hiatus. Just wasn't feeling it. Instead, I sidestepped, did a little jaunty dance over to the world of crosstalk. And I splashed around in that pond for a while. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed that, I'm
Was it
sure.
a pond?
I don't know whether it was a
It was
pond.
more like a forgotten puddle in a garage. Right. Is that water?
Yeah, an oily piss
Could
puddle.
be. Could be water. Hasn't rained for a few weeks, but could be.
An oily piss puddle.
Yeah. The only pest puddle of your life.
But now we're back. We're back in the After Movie Diner because we have been drawn...
Does it have a special name? Didn't we come up with a special name?
What?
Like the after...
Oh, the post-apocalyptic diner. I don't know.
No, was it like the after movie, not a diner or something? I can't remember. I
think my Twitter handle at the moment is the After Movie Not Allowed in a Diner right now.
That was it. Yeah. The after movie, not allowed in a diner. Yeah.
But we were dragged back in. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. I don't know what accent that was. That was like a cross between Al Pacino and Sean Connery in The Untouchables. I don't quite know why.
Someone needs to play that part. Someone needs to be a cross between Al Pacino in The Godfather and Sean Connery in The Untouchables.
Yes.
Sorry.
Someone needs to do that.
Carry on.
But we were pulled back in by the siren song, some might say, the kind of slightly filthy siren song of none other than the sleaziest man to ever sleaze a sleazeball.
What we were drawn by was the imperceptible sound, right, that is made when James Spader uncrosses his legs. Yeah. Right? You can't hear, like cats. You know, like dogs can hear something. Only cats can hear it. Like cats miles away start like screeching and squealing.
Yeah.
Whenever Spader uncrosses his legs.
Well, it's because
we can hear it.
We can hear it. We're finally
you watch enough Spader films, right, and live in America, and wherever you are on the continental United States, you can hear the sound every time James Spader uncrosses his legs. Yeah?
And when he uncrosses his legs, what's weird, it's funny you mentioned cats, it sounds ever so slightly like kittens lapping up milk. And I don't know why, but it just has that little like...
After, right?
Sound.
Yeah, but after the sound of kittens in a sack being dropped like down a flight of stairs, like a kind of a gentle... and then laughing.
Right. Oh, you mean like like a bunch
legs of across, full of. Then the lapping of kittens. That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Okay.
If you had to describe it,
of
course, it defies description. You need to be a poet to really capture it. But even then, do you know what I mean? You're grasping at moonbeams.
And the smell. It's something. It's something between.
That's just you, mate. That's just what happens to you when you hear that sound.
The smell is something like parsley and caramel sauce dribbled liberally over some raw pork.
Yeah,
that's what the smell is like.
Yeah, which coincidentally is the same as you after you've eaten some popcorn.
Yeah, which coincidentally is the name of my biography. Parsley and caramel sauce drizzled over raw pork. But yes, it's Sleazy Spader Springtime 5. This time it's Sleazonal. Oh, it's Sleazy Spader Springtime. Welcome to the show. Oh, it's a Sleazy Spader Springtime. I want you all to know that if you please, there's James Spader Sleaze and it's got nowhere else to go. So loosen all your blouses, give your nose a damn good blow. 'Cause now we're coming clean, oh yeah. It's 2020 and we're in quarantine. This Sleazy Spader Springtime show. Oh yeah. It is 2020. 14th edition of the Sleazy Spader Springtime Show. We're back with 4 more James Spader films. And through
maybe like some of them I can't go. Crash I can't find. I can't find Crash.
I'll find it for us. I'll find it. I've got a dealer. I've got a dealer of Spader. I've got a Spader dealer who'll figure it out. I already got the stick up for us.
Oh, you did? How'd you get that?
I already got it. I've got a dealer. I'm going to send you the file, dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm going to send you the file via Google Drive. Plug. Google Drive. The Googling. It's a Google nation. We just live in it. But yeah, no, we've been pulled back in by Sleazy Spader Springtime 5. You're not wriggling out of it, Jim. I will find 4 films that we can watch.
yeah, all right. Fair enough.
Jim has very gamely agreed to do all 4 this year, which has pleased me no end because I love...
Gamely as in the smell of like very old meat.
Yes, gamey, not gamely.
Gamey. Oh, gamey,
yeah,
right.
Gamey. Agreed.
Decided.
But it's because I relish talking Spader with you more than anyone else. It's not that the former guests we've had on Sleazy Spader haven't been phenomenal. They have been.
Top notch.
But you just understand it. You just understand. I don't
because
need to...
You need to have... I'll tell you what it is. You need to have, right, the soul of a poet to truly express exactly how sleazy he is.
Yeah, exactly. And
if you're not armed with metaphor, you're going in naked.
Oh, completely naked. But you're also the one, and I don't want to really probe too deep as to how you know so much, but I feel like you also understand the Sleazatorium in a way that no one else has quite understood it. I feel
I think it's sort of like once you believe in it, it becomes real and you visit it in your dreams. You don't remember dreams. It's not like a dream that you wake up halfway through or whatever. But if you think about how much time we spend dreaming, right, and not waking up in the middle of, so you don't remember the dreams. There's all these dreams that happen that we don't know what happened in them. And for you and me, now that we know the Sleazatorium exists, we have been there in our dreams. We have traveled. We have visited with Spader, and he has welcomed us into his Sleazatorium with
a slightly grubby toweling dressing gown.
No more, mate. It's best that we don't know what he did to us.
Yeah.
When he summoned us, like from the astral plane.
Yeah, through the ether.
Yeah.
Into his...
We've been molested astrally.
Yes. Molastrally.
Astrally molested by James Spader. I might put that on my resume. I have been astrally molested by James Spader.
I tell you what, you'd get a few phone calls just to ask you, what that meant. It would at least be a conversation starter. But I fear that it would be a bit like when the people behind the Brown Sugar streaming app contacted me through Twitter. This was ages ago when Brown Sugar first showed up, because I have in my Twitter bio, Pam Grier touched my beard. So they contacted me thinking, well, here's a movie guy and here's a guy who knows Pam Grier. We've got to get him to promote Brown Sugar. This is perfect. They picked up the phone and I'm like, hi. I'm like, wait, is this John? They can just hear the British accent. They can hear the fact that I'm not their demographic. And it was one of those awkward conversations. They were like, so I guess tell us why Pam Grier touched your beard, but then after that we'll hang up and definitely never contact you again.
Yeah, sorry about that, mate.
So that's a bit like Spader. What was I comparing that to?
I don't know, mate. Sometimes your comparisons tend to go off a little bit into I think you're preparing for eventual talk shows. You know what I mean? What happens is someone asks you a question about something, right, and you seamlessly steer it around to your already prepared story about whatever,
right?
And that's how you control your image.
Except that I got to the end of that story and went.
Yeah, but that's your brand, mate. That's your brand.
That's my brand. My
party ends to boring stories. That's your brand.
My stories, they start strong, go nowhere in the middle, and end with a fart.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
That's my brand.
I'd say that's pretty accurate.
That's my brand. Waffly and farty, the John Cross way. Here comes the postman. I wonder what he has for me. Is there something in his big brown sack? I wonder what could it be? Well, I hope the bills it lacks and instead brings me some listener feedback, or maybe, just maybe, a big bag of crack. Oh, here comes the postman. I wonder what he has for me. Well, I'll tell you the other reason, the other thing that woke us up and gave us a little bit of a tickle on the derriere to get the Sleazon going was this email, so that we received.
This is some top hosting.
I'm
sorry.
Seamless.
Sorry.
It actually came through our aftermoviediner.com contact us form. Please utilize it as
People
you wish.
People should use that more.
People should use it. They should use it.
Free. Why wouldn't they?
They should use
Why
it
wouldn't
liberally.
they want to contact you?
Liberally contact us. It's literally on the homepage. The message says, I've discovered your Sleazy Spader Springtime series during this lockdown period. Can you imagine that? You're locked down and you're trying to discover things, and you come across us talking Sleazy Spader. That's some kind of wonder. Having ill-advisedly watched Dream Lover on Netflix, I went in search of anyone else, who'd seen that mess and discussed it. This quickly led me to your other Spader-centric episodes. So many thanks for all those hours of entertainment. A suggestion for this year's series, if it's happening. Oh, it's happening.
Oh, it's happening.
The Stick Up from 2002, which we have been recommended also by fellow Spader enthusiast Andy Lunn. So we are doing the Stick Up. We just had to.
Yeah, the only reason it disappeared off Amazon. We were going to do it this week, but it buggered off Amazon. Like the day after I saw it on Amazon, and it's gone.
It's almost like Spader has his minions out now, and the moment they hear like the rubbing of thighs, they're like, quick! They're doing the Sleazy Spader series again. Shut down all the streaming.
Yeah, and the Stick Up.
The Stick Up from 2002. Completely atrocious, of course, and Spader apparently went on to marry his co-star, which adds a certain layer of intrigue to the viewing experience. Would love to hear your analysis / piss take of it. All the best, and thanks again. So this one is going out to, I believe her name is Catherine, but that is all I will divulge. This one is going out to Catherine. A hearty thanks to you for contacting us. I do hope that listening to us waffle about the madness that is Dream Lover lifted your spirits after having watched Dream Lover. And I also want to say a huge, huge, huge thank you to you, Catherine, because you did support us via the buy us a coffee button on the website, and I have to say huge thanks to that. Why don't more people do that?
Almost like all your time and effort is worth something.
It's almost
That's
worth
crazy.
Something. I know, it's fantastic, isn't it? So there Catherine is utilizing not only the contact us form. Why are not more people doing it? And the buy us a coffee button.
Yeah,
more people should definitely be doing that too.
Like, well, just write your name on it and say I like the show. And your name will get read out, and you'll get a little thrill.
Yeah, it is. It's
exciting.
That's
it. That's all you need to do.
Look, Kat, I am so excited that someone watched Dream Lover and thought there must be someone out there who can help. And the answer was us. I think, in our own small way, that's a beautiful Christmas miracle right there.
Yeah, I'd say, a sleazonal miracle.
A sleazonal miracle.
A sleazonal miracle.
I don't know why I went with Christmas, but I feel like...
No, I think that's fine.
I feel that's where the magic comes from. So thanks for that. That certainly perked my spirits up and made me more and more excited about doing Sleazy Spader.
It also emotionally blackmailed me into doing more Sleazy Spader Springtime.
It did, because we know that we have Andy...
I can be very easily emotionally blackmailed, you just have to ask me to do it.
Yes, indeed.
That's all it fucking takes.
We have Andy Lunn, who we know shows up every year to infuse about Sleazy Spader Springtime. And now we have Catherine. I feel like we only need really one or two people to beat the drum or blow the trumpet. We're all over that shop. Yeah. We're all over that shop. So we did have a lot of comments and questions on Facebook, but we're going to tantalizingly leave those till later so that you have to listen to the episode.
Keep them hanging on for our bollocks.
Yeah, listen to the episode first. And on this one, as we did say, we were going to do the stick up first. As the Sleazy Spader Springtime 5 poster is actually an adaptation of the stick-up poster. But we are going to leave that till number 2. Ooh, number 2. And for number 1, weirdly, we're going 2 Days in the Valley.
Well, it's all over the shop.
Now, 2 Days in the Valley, Jim, this was a regular rental of ours, or did one of us purchase it? I forget, but we watched this multiple times in West.
We did watch it multiple times. So I have a question, right?
Yes.
To kick it off.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that I had a poster of 2 Days in the Valley on my wall, hung up on my wall. So my question is this.
Well, Charlize Theron, probably, mate. It was probably of it all.
No, because right? There's lots of ways, lots of movies, lots of movie covers have birds on the front, right?
Right, yeah.
What I'm saying is, I had a poster of 2 Days in the Valley on the wall.
Yeah.
So my question is simply this. Why?
Well,
Why do I have a poster
I'll answer
of
that.
2 Days in the Valley on the wall?
I'll answer that.
Okay.
There's one of 2 reasons.
Okay.
Either you got it from like the bird at the video store and thought, oh, it's a video store poster, I'll put it up. Or
that's a possibility.
Or the other reason is that this was at the sweet spot when like magazines like Neon and stuff were doing those poster inserts, like the 96, where this movie comes out.
Oh, that's true.
And it could have been one of those poster inserts in one of those
I'm pretty sure it was a video store one. It might have been Star Video, but I think you're right. I think it was the Video Hut. I think it might have been a Video Hut one. But then, were they free? I can't remember if they were free or not. Anyway, the point is, this is my puzzle. Having watched 2 Days in the Valley for the first time since owning that poster.
Right.
Having watched 2 Days in the Valley, my thought was, why on earth did I have a poster of this bloody awful movie on my wall? Because it is. No, because I thought 2 Days in the Valley is quite good, isn't it? It is not good. I mean, it is not in any way, from any point, start to finish, any good at all. It's just a waste of time, talent, and fucking oxygen.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you've come back to the film, you've reevaluated it, and you've written it off. You've gone, it's all balderdash. There's a reason why we didn't drag this mess. Hang on a second. There's a reason why we didn't drag this mess from the 90s into further decades and sing its
Well,
praise.
there's a reason why the bloke that made it didn't do another film for like 10 years or something.
Is that true?
Yeah.
John Herzfeld.
Yeah, Herzfeld, yeah.
Herzfeld, he was doing stuff the whole time, I thought.
No.
Maybe not as a director, but he was writing. He wrote a TV series episode in '98.
Well, he can't write for shit. He can't write for shit covered in toffee, covered in more shit.
And he wrote and directed 15 Minutes with.
Whoa! Oh, that classic that resurrected De Niro's career
with De Niro and Ed Burns and Kelsey Grammer in 2001, which was 5 years after this.
Oh well. Either way. He can't write for shit.
But he's been working since the late 70s, early 80s.
He's not... I don't think he's a
writing,
bad director.
directing, and acting.
He's not a bad director, but he's just a terrible writer. It's a really terrible... In fact, no, he is a terrible director because he's got Danny Aiello and James Spader. And you've got Danny Aiello as a schlubby, past-it, over-the-hill hitman, partnered with like the world's sleaziest psychopathic hitman played by James Spader. How do you not take that and do something with it better than whatever the fuck this is?
Right. Well, this is where we should come at it from. So just to let you know, I'm not about to like sing this film's praises by any means. I totally understand why on a rewatch you've looked at this and gone, it's balls. I totally and utterly understand that. I see where you're coming from, and I'm in no way about to try and change your mind or argue the toss. However, I had fun with it. Potentially.
Which part was fun?
No. Hang on a second. Sorry. I had fun with it. Definitely from a nostalgic perspective because I hadn't seen it in a long time. But I also had fun with it because, yes, while the script is hokum, and there's one key scene where you know that the script is utter balls, and that's when the like twitchy dude meets Paul Mazursky when he's walking his dog, and for no apparent reason gives massive amounts of exposition nobody required.
Oh my God, that
while
was so
he's
good.
walking the dog.
It was so start to finish terrible that I hadn't even pinpointed, because that's not even the most terrible thing about the movie. Can we talk just briefly?
Hang on, let me just
Because I
finish
really want to talk about the most you may not quite have grasped how terrible it is,
right.
But it's right in the middle of the movie,
right?
And as in like the center of its construction,
right?
And it's a giant ball of horseshit.
Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there. Let's not jump to the middle, Jim.
I'm not going to jump. No, mate. No, I know how it goes.
While I'm still giving my top level summation.
I was being very rude, interrupting your top level. Sticking my oar in the top level. You crack on.
Crack on with the top level summation
crack on with your
that
top
nobody's
level,
interested in. No, I was having a lot of fun with Danny Aiello, who delivers every line. Like, if anyone else was doing that role, it wouldn't be anywhere near as entertaining. But there's something incredibly entertaining about Danny Aiello throughout the whole movie. He's so immensely watchable and amazing, and like just the way like the doorbell goes off and he immediately like gets his gun out and starts running towards the door and stuff. And there's even a bit where like he goes to run out the door, hears sirens, goes to shut the door, does an absolute Burton and slides out from underneath himself and falls down on the floor and then scrabbles to get back up with his wig flapping everywhere. And I'm like, I just had to admire it. Like I had to just admire
that was good.
The fact that he threw himself into a role in such a clearly awful film.
Yeah.
I had to applaud it.
You know, because you're right, actually, because I can't think of many things where he's in any way the lead.
Right.
Like at best, he's, you know, a supporting role, but he is genuinely the lead in this. And that's what upset me is that, and Spader's the lead, but Sleazy Spader is not often the lead, right? He turns his leading roles into festivals of sleaze just by being him. But he's very, really good. You know what we need as like the lead character of our movie is a sleazy psychopath. Like that's not very, and it's a comedy. That's quite rare. So to have him and Aiello together, both giving it the beans, they're both really good at it. Don't get me wrong.
No, so that was my second prong. My second prong was, if you dialed into 2 Days in the Valley for some Spader sleaze, you get it spread liberally on drippy, moist bread, mate.
Yeah. It's almost like too much sleazy syrup.
I mean, when you first see him, you think, wait, is Spader going to play this whole role as some sort of monosyllabic, glazed-eyed, you know, Nazi kind of looking dude? And then he's standing in the shadows at the corner of the room while Aiello is prepping the guy they're about to kill. And the moment Aiello steps away, Spader vaults onto the bed like some sort of giant lizardo sleep.
I don't know, you know what it like, and I'm sure it was deliberate, like from Spader, not from the director.
Yeah.
But when he like takes the gun out, it looks like he's going to undo his trousers and do something really obscene. Yes. And you know that that's deliberate. Like Spader has planned that out.
Oh, but this is what I mean is, right? I agree with you. The script is bollocks. It's a subpar melding. Robert Altman shortcuts and sort of Pulp Fiction-ish. It's that post-Tarantino bollocks with someone who's trying to make shortcuts. And they've watched shortcuts and they've gone, well, like, the key is just to have a bunch of characters doing stuff, right? It doesn't have to be interesting. And you're like, no, that's not the point of Raymond
you're
Carver
overlooking something very important.
But that's what he's tried to write and do. Is he's tried to write and do a shortcut. And he's ballsed it all over the shop. But that's fine. But when every scene Spader is in, every scene, he's so orally obsessed in this movie. Everything goes in his mouth. Everything. There's true. Even a bit at the end.
He's not like sucking the boom. Do you know what I mean? Like, the camera swings round and he's like hanging onto the boom, like sucking on the end of it. Get him down. Yeah, look, we're shooting. Take 5. Oh, he's up on the boom again. Get down off the boom, Spader. Jesus.
I mean, the bit when at the end he can't get his gun to work, so he goes and gets Eric Stoltz's gun, and then he like obscenely puts it in his mouth and like gimbals across the set. I'm like, that's obscene. It's so glorious. It's to be wonderful. And
That's
you're right.
I mean. Like,
you're
what,
right.
What I liked about it is I know you were saying about like Spader being sleazy in this one. It's like, well, it's not the same because he's trying to be sleazy. But there is something to be said for somebody as sleazy as he is being given full reign to be sleazy. That in fact, the sleazier, the better.
Right, no, but exactly. And I absolutely understand when you watch the movie why your brain and my brain wouldn't immediately go to get rid of everybody else and just make it a two hitmen in the valley film with Aiello and Spader being completely different energies. Aiello being like fucking Brooklyn, fucking pizza, bladder bing, and Spader being like, if you don't stop saying fuck, I'm going to lick you. You know, like if you put those two things together, then that's you're in the sweet spot. And I agree. You're
right. Right there, you've captured everything that's good about the movie.
Yeah.
If we just made that for 2 hours and like thrown a plot in there, just steal a plot.
Right.
Because this one doesn't have. Can we just put like very.
Can we talk about Stoltz and Daniels and how utterly pointless that whole thing is?
What the fuck is Daniels? Like, think about Daniels, because when the movie was over, and I was like, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, brush my teeth, whatever, I was like, hang on, what happened to Daniels? Like, he was in his house, right?
Yeah.
And it was his kid's birthday, and then he opened up the letter that said, you're fired from the police department. I was like, fucking hell, there's a lot of exposition in this scene, right? It's like, right, we get it. He's divorced. He still loves his kid. It's his kid's birthday. He's also just found out he's only got 2 days, you know, left on the force. Right, but that's the beginning of a movie, not the end of the character. And that's it. You never hear from him again.
No, so there's lots of problems here. The main one being, how fucking idiotic is Daniels' kid? As a child of divorce myself, no child writes first daddy and second daddy and draws a picture of it. No child. Every child is fully aware that first daddy doesn't want to know anything about second daddy and certainly doesn't want a fucking picture of it. So the filmmaker is like, oh, how do I explain that he's divorced and there's a stepfather in the picture? I know. Kid will draw a picture. No, won't happen. Secondly, Kim pointed out a brilliant thing. Kim was like, wait, the police force sent him a letter saying, you've got 48 hours to give in your gun. Wait, they're going to let someone who didn't pass the psych evaluation wander around for 2 days with a gun? I'm not sure that's how that works.
Again, but leaving all that aside, right? But that happens at the end. Like, there's no more. We don't. What he does in those 2 days, we don't know. What he does with his kid, we don't know. It's like the most completely pointless piece of it's like painfully bad exposition for like a movie that never happens. Do you know what I mean? It's completely bonkers. Well, and Jeff Daniels is so great.
Yeah.
And they cast him as this incredibly unlikable, like racist with no motive, with like a flimsy motive and like a bad attitude.
I grew up in the valley and therefore I hate everyone but myself.
It's just like there isn't. You've written this character in here, and as you rightly point out, he does nothing. He means nothing. He goes nowhere.
You know what he is?
Says nothing of any interest or importance.
He's an Eric Stoltz delivery system. That's the worst thing about it.
Right, but the Eric Stoltz delivery system. Okay, look.
Meaning
I
Daniels
held my tongue for long enough.
Meaning
right?
Daniels has to be in it. Daniels has to be in it in order to deliver Eric Stoltz. Eric Stoltz's only purpose is, I'm a cop who works for Vice who wants to work in homicide, and his only purpose is to show up and fuck up Spader's plans at the end of the movie. That's the only...
Actually, wait. I do have one thing to say. I have one positive thing to say about this movie, leaving aside Aiello and Spader are good at. There is one genuinely good scene that they could have built the movie around, and it could have been like Aiello and Spader and Jeff Daniels and literally anybody else. Right?
Because Stoltz,
if you have to, fine. But
Stoltz is a vacuum.
The scene where the Vice coppers go into like the crime scene with the guns, and they're obviously really inexperienced. They're like bumping into each other. They're like swinging their guns around like they've seen other people do in movies, right? And like squabbling about what they're going to do with them. That's quite a good scene, right? That's actually quite a good idea of having like, yeah, what if like vice cops who are sick of like busting strip joints and whatever actually wanted to solve a proper murder? Like there's something going there, and like having those two try to catch Spader and and Aiello, like there's a movie there, right? Like the sleazy hitman and the past hitman, and then the two coppers who are used to being whatever. Like there's something there, but instead they don't catch him, right? Because instead what happens is Spader goes, I know, I'll just go back to the scene of the crime, and if I come across any cops, I'll just kill them. Yeah, that seems like a fucking plan. So please, I can't hold it in any longer, right? Could we just briefly talk about the conversation that we don't see in the movie, but the conversation where Terry Hatcher hires James Spader and Charlize Theron? And the conversation presumably goes something like this. I would like you to kill my husband, please. Fair enough. We do that. We do kill people. We will do that for you. Okay? How much do you charge? Well, we charge 30 grand to kill someone. Really? That doesn't seem like an awful lot of money. That's fine. That's fine. We like doing it. We'll do it for the 30 grand. No problem. Great. Fantastic. Well, all I need you to do.
It's 30 grand and half the insurance.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. But still, like, if that happens, but let's say, but to start, it's the 30 grand, right? That's what we're going to do, right? So, how's that? Great. That's fine. You don't know him. Like, we're not connected. Totally cool. Have the 30 grand and you go off and you kill my husband, right? No. We've got a better idea. We're not just going to kill your husband, right? Because that'd be too easy, right? I know 30 grand is hardly any money, and the rest of it's being paid on the possibility of maybe an insurance claim coming through, right? But that's fine. What we're going to do instead is I'm going to get my girlfriend to pretend to go out with your husband for a few months, right? Why? No reason. Just feel like, set the scene. Do you know what I mean? Like, get them together, right? But why do they? I don't understand. Why does he need to see your girlfriend before you kill him? Well, it's just, it's a matter of, plausible deniability. For who? For you. Right. But if you kill him and you're not me and you do it like far away, plausible deniability. That's like, no, I've already got that. We don't need to, why do we need the blonde involved? No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, fine.
Because the executive producer...
Him, right? No, I'm not going to kill him. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hire an ancient Italian hitman to go along with me on the job. Right, why are you doing that then? Why do we need an Italian hitman involved in this? You just need to put a bullet in his head. No. We're going to follow you around for a few weeks, right? We're going to bug your apartment, and we're going to follow you around, me and the Italian hitman. And when the time is right, you won't know when it is. It'll be very unexpected. That's when we'll kill him. And 30 grand gets me all this because this seems like a lot for 30 grand. No, we're happy to do it. Happy to do it, we are. I've got nothing but time, apparently, so I can spend months setting up a fucking scheme for 30 measly grand that, by the way, only ties me to the victim. By having my girlfriend go out with him, all that does is make me a hitman, a fucking suspect in the hit, which is presumably rule 1 not to do when you're a fucking hitman.
Also, to cause like massive amounts of insecurity between Spader and Theron, like for no reason.
Right, and if it was like
he's like, did you sleep with him? Did you sleep with him? Well, why put her in front of him in the first place? Like, it doesn't make any sense, Jim.
No, and the thing is, he's not getting off on it. If he was getting off on it, I could get it. But he's genuinely like jealous and like, well, you were only supposed to go in there and ... We haven't really got into why you went in.
You see, it would have been so much more interesting if the only reason they did that is because Spader was really into the idea of watching his girlfriend with someone else, which Spader is.
Which he is. I mean, he absolutely is, but just not his character in this movie.
Right.
But Spader is.
Yeah, and I'm sure Spader must have pitched that as an idea.
And then just ago. So wait a minute. Where's the money? Where's the 30 grand? Well, that's back in my house. What do you mean it's in your house? Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to keep it in my special fucking 30 grand money safe that I travel around in a hat, in a special hat?
They did all this.
It's in my house, you fucking idiots.
They did all this without being paid as well. Like they did this whole thing.
How are we going to like give you plausible deniability? Oh, well, we'll do it while you're fucking lying next to him. This is fucking ridiculously pointless. Go to plot school.
Yeah, no, none of it makes a lick of sense.
It's a one-day course in Los Angeles. Is how to write a plot that isn't fucking rubbish, right? And you'll have a better movie.
Yeah. No, it's weird, right? It seems to be a film, or the writer seems to be interested in everything but actually what's going on. Like, he's interested that he thinks it's interesting that Jeff Daniels has a son who's no longer living with him, that he buys a Super Soaker for, that there's some tragedy there, that he lives opposite a golf course, that like all this stuff that he thinks is interesting. He thinks it's interesting that James Spader doesn't quite trust his girlfriend, even though James Spader is this like hugely confident Lothario hitman. He's going to be bothered by the idea of like his girlfriend sleeping with someone else, even though the denouement of the movie is Spader's not that bothered about shooting her in the face. So like the denouement, like there's literally a bit in the denouement where Spader's like, do I? And then he kisses her and he's like, no, I'll shoot her in the face. Like none of it makes a lick of sense. But
No, you're right. You make a good point. There's a lot of things, and there's other things like
Eric Stoltz.
I can tell you what he's into, if you like. I can tell you what he's interested in. He's interested in women's arses. That's what he's interested in.
Yeah, he is very interested
in women's arses, to the point where the
arse.
Weakest fucking plot twist.
Yeah.
In a fucking movie full of them is I'm going to have a cat fight in a motel room because I want to put two chicks in like bottom hugging trousers to have a cat fight in a motel for no reason. And the only reason, by the way, that Charlize Theron goes out with her husband is because he needs to have an excuse for them to have a cat fight in bottom hugging trousers in a motel room. That's the only reason for that whole thing, is so they can have a cat fight about it. It's shall I go back to my house and pick up the money because I fucking live there and that makes sense? No. You wait here with the hit woman, right? Who, again, you're a suspect in a murder, so why don't you just hang out in a sleazy motel with a hit woman while I go back to the scene of the crime with my gun and my like psycho face and get the money? And if I see any cops, I'll just shoot them in the head because, hey, for 30 grand, I'll. But
it also does show, like, I mean, we could nitpick this to death. Like this
isn't nitpicking, mate. This is nitpicking, and then there's taking large spiders off people's faces. Right, that's what we're doing. We're taking spiders off faces. We're not picking nits out, mate.
Spaders off spiders off faces.
These are like spiders the size of oranges that burrow into your brain, right, and then replace your brain with
orange spiders.
Yeah, with other spiders.
We are taking spiders off faces.
Yes, we're taking spiders. Oh, I like it. Yeah,
spiders.
I like it. It's good, mate.
No, I mean, it's two things. First of all, it shows that. Have you seen Shortcuts, by the way? Like, and are you aware?
I don't think I ever have seen Shortcuts.
Raymond Carver and stuff.
Yeah, I've read Raymond Carver, but I've never read Shortcuts.
So it shows just how hard, like, something like a Shortcuts, which I absolutely adore, but it shows how hard that like slice of life writing is. The ultimate like Shortcuts thing is really just we're all a bunch of misfits in together and you'll never guess what happens behind closed doors kind of thing. But the way it's done, both with Carver's writing and Altman's direction and the insanely stellar cast that he has in that film, the way it's done is just so perfect. It never pushes it to the point of so ludicrous you couldn't believe that it actually happened. Like, everything in it feels very believable, even if it's on the worser end or more extreme end of human psychology or humanity. There aren't fucking hitmen and fucking whatever running around. It's just regular people doing regular things in Los Angeles at a moment, and how they all kind of tie in together. And it seems sort of, well, this is obvious, right? This guy's having marital problems because he's going out with this person, and then this person hits a kid on a bike, and then this guy has an issue with his dad, and then this person, like, that's easy to write, right? But once you see something like 2 Days in the Valley, you realize that, and like I say, the reason why I kind of call it Pulp Fiction meets Shortcuts, only a very, very low rent version of it, is that he's looked at Pulp Fiction and Shortcuts and gone, wow, crime stories, easy, right? And slice of life Los Angelinos kind of bumping around the world, that's fucking easy. Just slam them together and it doesn't matter. You know, give that person a family issue and da-da-da-da-da, and let's just keep going. But it shows just how hard something like that is to do well, when something like 2 Days in the Valley you look at and you go, it's the perfect 90s rental, because it's full of like very 90s faces doing very mundane 90s things, filmed in a not particularly imaginative way, but with enough like pep and vim to get you through the end if you're 16 and you're sat on the couch and there's nothing else to watch, kind of thing. But it's you know, like you say, pull one or two threads on it and the whole jumper falls apart, because it's just fucking...
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it in terms of what you're saying about the Shortcuts nature of it, like, but the best illustration of that is the whole film, the whole climax of the film depends on Danny Aiello and the bloke, like accidentally driving past that house. You know what I mean? Like, it's
as if Danny Aiello wouldn't remember where he went on a hit the night before.
Right, and even if even if he doesn't, it's just there's like the woman running up to them like after the murder, like all shocked and stunned or whatever, and them being vice cops, like that's sort of a coincidence, kind of, but in the fact that Stoltz is talking about how he wants to burn a homicide and then she runs up, but like that's acceptable, right? Because it's within the realms of chance. But just because, like, well, I need my film to end, and so Danny Aiello and Spader have to meet, but like neither of them have to do anything to meet each other. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like an accident, because it's not like they even like them bumping into each other in some kind of like semi-connected thing to the murder. Like that would make more sense. But this is more like, well, they just need to meet, so let's just make that happen. And it's just like he's saying that the act of how coincidences come about is more about, well, how did the characters get there and what does that mean, than rather than just like, I'm only interested in them meeting each other. It's like, no, if you're making a film about, like you say, how people bumble around, then how they end up where they end up, what got them there, that's the point of your movie. Not that, well, it's the bit of the movie where there needs to be a climax now, so like we better make that happen, right? It's how people get there and the decisions they make. That's what the audience have been following this whole film. What does Danny Aiello do? And just like in a, don't get me wrong, like he's fine in it, but the wig gag is like, all right, I get the fucking wig gag. Like it was funny a bit once, and the only time it's genuinely funny is, as you say, when he slips over in the hallway when I
still like the fact that for no apparent reason Danny Aiello starts making Italian food, because seemingly in the 90s every movie from Do the Right Thing or Leon the Professional, whatever, like all those movies he's just constantly making Italian food.
I wonder if he just makes really good Italian food and people just keep casting him in movies so that he'll make them Italian food. Yeah. Maybe that's all it is, but it's fucking boring. He just turns up. Also, right, and I remember this bugging me even at the time, everybody, other than Spader and Aiello and Daniels, the casting director for this movie should never have worked again, because literally everybody else in this movie who wasn't directly approached as a name, you know what I mean? Like, as in, like, we just need somebody to play this role, is fucking awful in this film. They are all terrible, right? The English bloke is just... easily one of the worst performances in any film ever. He's not only like acting badly, he's also deeply unlikable, not funny, and just an all-around like git. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's just a git. And not in any kind of illuminated or funny way. Just a straight up and down git acting badly at being a git.
He's literally, we couldn't afford Richard E. Grant. And I have to say, like, if you can't afford Richard E. Grant, don't bother. Like that, because meaning Richard E. Grant is not that expensive. So if you can't afford Richard E. Grant, don't bother.
Also, if you're going to change the line in your script that makes your American sister with the war hero relative that's never fucking explained or gone into, other than, well, we need them to meet somewhere. What about a cemetery? And we can talk about war. Who's also that bloody awful woman out of Frasier who I never liked. I was like, where do I know this woman from? I know I don't like her. I know she can't act and she drives me crazy, but I know her from somewhere. Where have I seen this woman acting badly and driving me crazy before? And it took me ages before I was like, oh yeah, that's right, Frasier. Yeah, if you're going to change that, that's fine. But then change the line about him going, I grew up in a trailer park. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No. Like, even if you'd moved over to England when you were 12, right, to grow up in a trailer park, let's say, like, the ensuing years, you are now 40-something, like, you're incredibly plummy. If you want to go with a half, like, grew up in England, whatever. But, like, it's just that, and again, it's just, like, the whole film is full of, like, decisions like not made because like
Hirschfeld's backstory, according to IMDb, and I've read a lot of IMDb descriptions, and I've never heard anything where someone has praised their parents. But he was born and raised in New Jersey. He's the son of Henry and Lois Hirschfeld. His father was a World War II hero, winner of the Bronze Star, and instrumental in the liberation of Dachau, which is fascinating. I just don't understand why it belongs on IMDb. But it does go... he also roomed with Sylvester Stallone at the University of Miami, which... I mean...
That sounds like a euphemism.
Yeah, one can only imagine. In fact, his latest movie is Escape Plan, The Extractors, so he still is good friends with Stallone at this point. And in fact, Frank Stallone showed up to the... premiere of 2 Days in the Valley. I found looking around the internet. It's just these little things, these little like nuggets of information.
That's why it's a veterans cemetery, and that's why he's got a director complaining about like nobody got my movie or
nobody got my movie where
things are important. You can make a film about something important, mate. You've just been given the chance. You've been given like money and Danny Aiello and James Spader, and it doesn't matter that what they paid for is a knockabout crime caper. That can still say interesting, important things. If you're not fucking engaged, then don't fucking write it.
But anyway, I feel like 2 Days in the Valley is definitely one where we could probably, as I say, Spider pick off the face for all night for all the different things that are wrong about it. I think the script notwithstanding, and the holes in the script notwithstanding, I think the biggest problem with it is that, like you say, there's this ensemble cast of I know that person from somewhere kind of cast.
Tell you what was odd about it as well.
With
when I was watching
Aiello, is it Glenn Headey or Glenn Headey?
It wasn't nearly as I remembered it being in my head. I'm just getting some coffee. I remembered it in my head being full of much more like bigger names and recognizable faces than it was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it has. You know, the four biggest names in it are, well, I guess Terry Hatcher as well, but Jeff Daniels, Eric Stoltz, James Spader, and Danny Aiello, with sort of Glenn Headley and Terry Hatcher as sort of second players. And I guess at the time, you know, Glenn Headley had been in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which we were watching a lot of as well. So I feel like we probably thought that she was... maybe, and she'd been in.
Never got her. I've never understood.
Well, she'd been in Dick Tracy at the time as well. Like there was lots of stuff she was in.
No, I'm just saying. I've never gotten her. I've never understood it. Daniela, I get. James Spader, I get. Jeff Daniels, I'm very much getting. Jeff Daniels is great. Charlize Theron, I normally like, but she's fucking terrible in this. I don't necessarily blame her because it's not much of a part. But like, I don't get Glenn Headey. I just don't. I've never gotten it. Never understood it. He's wetter than a fish's wet bit.
Well, I mean, I like it. She's meant to be in this movie, so it kind of works.
No,
but
I know, but I don't. There's a way of. I can't explain it. Just I don't. But I've never been a fan of this.
It's odd because I agree with everything you're saying, but at the same time, like, I think I enjoyed sort of just the attempt, like. It's such an attempt movie. Like a movie where
that's my problem. Is it's not okay?
No. Hang on. I let you tirade. Okay. But no, he's attempting to do something, right? Is far more interested in all the wrong things rather than the right things. Thinks that he pulls off this great trick of, oh, look, everyone you meet in these disparate stories at the beginning all meet up in some way. Like even right down to having the jittery guy come out of the massage parlor later on in the movie. Like the same dude who meets him on the heath while they're walking their dogs comes out in the massage. Because he's like, you see, they're all, you know, in the valley, right? With the intermingling and the crossing each other's lives and da-da-da. Not that any of it matters at all, because it's all circumstantial. Like it's literally like a murder case where all the evidence is circumstantial. And they put it up in court and go, well, you know, this guy, right? And they're like, yeah, but also these 5 other guys. Yeah, don't talk about the 5 other guys. This guy, right? Yeah, but it's all circumstantial. No, I know it's circumstantial, but could you convict based on circumstance?
One of the characters has a dog and wants to give the dog away. And the woman he wants to give the dog away to says, oh, I'll give that dog to my brother, who at no point, like, first of all, there's no way those two are related. There's just zero way that the art guy and the nurse are related. But even if we could get past that, at no point is this a guy who's like, you know what I could use? I could use my sister dropping around and bringing me a dog. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, so...
It's all wrong. It's all wrong. I don't want to keep going there. I don't want to keep going there. It's just, we could do it all night and it's no fun anymore. I'm sorry. I totally take your point and I completely understand, but it's no fun anymore. It's the fact that it looks like a made-for-TV HBO miniseries. Like it doesn't even like from the 90s, like not even a modern HBO series, but like from the 90s. It doesn't look like a film at all. Like it's really, it's not even mundanely directed. It's just so unbelievably, staggeringly average. It's ridiculous. But I just want to talk about Spader and his face. Spader's every opportunity in this movie. I mean, the face that he gives Jeff Daniels when he sees him with the Super Soaker when they pull up to the lights is amazing. The bit at the end where he like dances up to Dan Aiello, kicks the gun out of his hand, and makes the most obscene face as he leans down towards him. The fact that there's a scene in this movie where while Charlize Theron is cavorting around in white lace, Spader goes over to an ice bucket, gets a fistful of ice, undoes his pants, and then puts a fistful of ice down in the front of his pants and makes the series of the most offensive faces I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, that alone is reason for this to exist. And I understand. And then
puts one of them in his mouth, right? And then he takes one of the ice cubes he's taken out of his trousers.
Yeah, and puts it in his mouth. Yes. Yeah. There's so much in this.
He wants the taste of iced bull sweat.
even the bit where he comes across the 2 detectives investigating the scene and he has to kill them. Even when the guy...
Does he have to? Or can he hide in a cupboard away from the guy?
Hilarity. But no, I'm with you. I get it. I agree. Move on. When he shows up and he goes to kill him, he even like blows kisses at the male detective in order to get him to turn around. Like in order to get him to turn around, he goes like every opportunity Spader has to just, you know, wipe juices all over the set. He does. And it's a joy to behold, and I enjoyed that about it. I really did genuinely enjoy that about it. And I enjoyed Danny Aiello shouting at everybody. I enjoyed him nervously pointing a gun at a dog. I enjoyed him shouting repeatedly at the dog. I enjoyed him trying to run out of the apartment every 5 minutes and falling over. I just enjoyed all of that. Everything else about it is awful. Nobody ever needed to see Eric Stoltz's erection. Nobody ever needed to see Eric Stoltz's erection. Like, I'm sure the director was like, oh, look how edgy and sexy I'm being, because this is going to be like an 18 video rental, all sexy and sleazy, and Charlize Theron, and Eric Stoltz's erection. No, like it's almost the anti-sex. Like Eric Stoltz's erection is the anti-sex. The close-up of Stoltz's flesh being rubbed at the beginning of that scene is like it's like I can't even describe it. It's like gone off meat being pounded by like a prison warden. It's awful. It's just incredible. But yeah, I mean, only watch this for Spader's faces. He makes some of the most obscene faces I've ever seen him make, and it was a joy. I will sum up this movie in one story from the 2 Days in the Valley trivia section. You'll like this.
Right.
So, in 1995, Charlize Theron was newly arrived in Hollywood after stints as a model and a dancer. Living in a Fleabag motel and running out of money, her mother had sent her, the 20-year-old Theron, a check from South Africa. But when she went to the bank to cash it, they refused her. Fed up, Theron threw what has repeatedly been called a tantrum. That argument, coupled with her beauty, caught the eye of an agent who promptly handed over his business card. Fast forward a few months later, and Theron in white lingerie towered over Los Angeles in billboards for 2 days in the Valley. If Theron having a tantrum outside probably a restaurant like in Bowfinger or something, catching the eye of an agent, does not explain this film, I don't know what does. But when there's something about the idea of a 20-year-old Theron just like throwing some tantrum on Hollywood and Vine, and some agent coming up being like, I don't know, gal, but I think you've got something. Like, that is this film in a nutshell. And when you look at John Hertzfeld, the director, he looks like that guy. He looks like he has chomped a cigar in his time. You know what I mean? He's leant across a desk and gone, you've got something. You know he has.
Yeah, he likes arses too much to not be a sleazy cigar chewer.
Yeah, he's definitely done that. So, any more on the movie, or can we pivot over to Spader and answer some questions on the
let's answer the
socials?
question.
Okay.
Good plan.
But yeah, I do agree with you, dude, and I didn't mean to like shout you down or shoot you down or whatever like that. It's just, I agree with you. We could go through, scene by scene. Like, why is any of the golf bit in there at all? Like, why is that in it at all? Like, if there was a golf course that close to house, there would be some form of fence that stopped golf balls flying into people's windows. Anyway, put when you are so dangerous, you're not allowed on active duty anymore. They don't give you a gun for 48 hours to wander about the city trying to arrest people in massage parlors. Like, nobody cares. That whole thing. The explanation of the writer-director's like backstory is so ham-fistedly told, it's ridiculous. I'm a jittery guy you met walking a dog who worked a couple of days on a picture, and let me explain your entire career for you just as you're about to commit suicide. Why? Nobody cares.
You're right, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So, but let's answer some of the questions. I'm going to leave one particular question to the end because I think it's probably the best question and will lead into a nice Sleazatorium discussion. But here are the 3 Andy Lunn questions.
Right.
Andy Lunn, here are his questions. Questions about Spader, Andy Lunn. I don't know. He always asks questions, so I feel like he should.
He should get a theme tune one day.
This is the 5th year doing this, Jim.
Yeah. He's got stamina, I'll give him that.
We will have watched 20, is it 20?
Well,
around 20.
Because I missed a couple of years.
I will have watched around 20 James Spader films by the time this season is over.
Yeah.
Here's Andy Lunn's first. You're like, oh my God. Andy Lunn says, do you think Spader has ever replicated the classic Buffalo Bill sequence from Silence of the Lambs for his own delight?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think
he's done it, but without the tuck. I don't think he bothers to tuck. I think he wants the dangle.
But then he's just dancing in the buff, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's definitely done that in a silken robe.
I feel like he might make other people do that for him. Do you know what I mean? And not in a mean way, not in a controlling way, just in a, he's interested to see what that would look like. He would have seen Silence of the Lambs, and since then, every now and then, he asked somebody to do it for him, just for the giggle.
I like that. Do you think he's ever asked Ted, what's his name, who plays Buffalo Bill, has he ever asked him to do it?
That's a possibility. Yeah. I think, although he'd want him to turn around, I think. He'd want to see what it looks like from behind.
He wants to see the...
He's got, what's his face, to do the Buffalo Bill bit from Silence of the Lambs, but watch it from behind. That's what Spader would want to see. He would want to see quite literally the backstory.
Yeah.
For like one of the sleaziest scenes in cinema.
He'd probably ooze over to Ted Levine at a craft service table and be like, Teddy, so I want you to do the tuck for me, but I would like to see the twig and berries from behind. I think that's probably correct. Andy then also asks, if Spader could go back in time and bag a role in a movie, what would he choose and how would he adapt it to make it more Spader? So by that, we probably mean 70s and before, I guess.
Caligula, surely.
And is Malcolm McDowell the British Spader?
Yeah, I suppose he is a little bit, yeah.
McDowell's got something.
Yeah, McDowell's got a certain... he's a bit more homicidal than Spader. But yeah, I'd say so. Clockwork Orange, Crash. There's definitely some parallels there.
So here's the thing, talking about things that Spader's tried to replicate from other movies. Spader has definitely tried to replicate the sped up sex scene in A Clockwork Orange, but in real time. Like not sped up. He's tried to do that fast and in that many positions.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Caligula is one answer. I've got to imagine, I don't know whether he would go back and be in the film, but I think he would probably want to be on set of Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. Maybe in like a deck chair just off to the side, just watching it unfurl. Maybe we're
going about it the wrong way. Maybe he would want to go back and
sleaze up a non-sleazy film.
Like he would want to go back like he would want to be in Gone with the Wind and just make it about something completely different.
That's a question. Have you seen Lincoln? Because the only thing that would make me watch Lincoln is the fact that Spader is in it with an enormous mustache. And I've got to imagine he sleazes up Lincoln. And therefore, does he go back and sleaze up Gone with the Wind?
He is, isn't it? Yeah, he is pretty. I think he is pretty sleazy, Lincoln. You can imagine that, like, God, at this era of America, can you imagine what he's getting up to?
Yeah. No,
do you know what I mean?
It's all shades of wrong. I'm trying to think of one other... Like the Alec Guinness spy movie, Our Man in Havana, I imagine Spader would want to go and be in that movie, but just loosely be in the background wearing a lot of beige trilbies and fanning.
I think he'd want to be in Casablanca.
Yeah.
And sleaze all over Ingrid Bergman. That's what I think he would want to do.
He'd want to be a German. He'd want to play one of the Germans in Casablanca.
No, he'd want to flirt with the Germans. You know what I mean? He would want to be Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca.
He'd want to be Ingrid Bergman.
No, he'd sleaze all over Bergman, and then he'd flirt with the Germans, and then he'd find a kindred spirit in Peter Lorre.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's what he would want to do.
All right, so to finish up our question section, we have one more Spader-related question from Andy Lunn. Andy Lunn, he's the man who asks about Spader.
It's better.
Sorry?
It's better.
It's better. It's coming on. What is Spader up to whilst confined to his home currently?
Oh, Jesus Christ, that doesn't start thinking about.
And second prong, what from 2 Days in the Valley did he put in the Sleazatorium?
Well, the first question I don't think we should even think about, because at some point, if thought crime becomes against the law, right, and there's no statute of limitations, right, on thought crime, if we even begin to think about what Spader is doing on his own right now, we would be put to death in 30 years. We can't even let ourselves imagine what he's doing, because it will be a thought crime. Yeah. In 20 years, if we imagine it. That's how obscene it is.
It does involve a lot of flouncy scarves and very tiny, tiny, tiny cups of coffee. That's all I'm going to say at this point.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, he is definitely, I'm just going to say this, put fluids into one of his trilby hats. I'm just going to say that, just as he's definitely put fluids. I'm not even going to say what fluids.
I think
he's put fluids in a hat.
How erotically charged he can become while still maintaining social distancing. I think he sees it as a challenge. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, it must be agony for him.
Like he's trying to blow his own mind erotically without touching anybody.
It must be agony for him, though, because he's so...
Yeah, but erotic agony is his favourite kind.
Erotic agony, but he's so into the moisture. Like, he's so into the pursed lips droplet of sweat and saliva and other fluids, that the idea that he cannot transmit those fluids currently to another human, even in perspiration or spittle.
If you want my opinion, he is probably prepared for this day for a long time. And I would guess that he has entire refrigerators full of other people's spittle, right? From like years ago, going back years, from like healthy people that he can sample.
Yeah.
I mean, either like orally or like rubbing onto his hands or whatever.
Yeah.
For as long as he lives, he's got that much. And from like, and each test tube is like labeled. Do you know what I mean? Like a bum named Steve, like I met out the back of a cinema on a humid June night, in 1972, right? And it's like Steve spit from that night.
Yeah,
he's collected all these fluids.
I imagine the atmosphere around Spader, even in the depths of winter, on the coldest terrain known to man, is still humid. I imagine his atmosphere, all of its very own, is a humid atmosphere. I imagine that like they say, like passing through a warm spot in the swimming pool where someone's peed, right? It's like if you're walking through a brisk, cold New York night and you suddenly feel humidity. Spader has just left that area. That's what you're walking through. You're walking through Spader's humidity.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
like urine in a swimming pool.
So go on. So what's your pick for the Sleazatorium then?
Well, I think the obvious pick. There's two obvious picks.
Okay.
One is Eric Stoltz towel.
Unwashed towel.
And the other one is the gun that he puts in his mouth at the end. But I don't think it's either of those two things. I think it's Jeff Daniels' waistcoat. That's what I think he's taken and put in the Sleazatorium. Because he wants the sweaty, enraged, slightly racist waistcoat of Jeff Daniels is what he wants. It was like a brown leather waistcoat. And I think that's what he's wanted to take off 2 days.
It doesn't strike me as particularly sleazy, though. I'm not saying he can listen. I'm not saying he can do something sleazy with it. Spader can do something sleazy with anything, but it has to bring back like some memory for him. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, in which case then it's the gray jumpsuit worn by Charlize Theron in the final act of the movie. Still blood.
Yeah, that I can believe.
Either that or Terry Hatcher's pants in the scene where she reveals that she has a bruise on her bum from being stabbed by the needle. The pants she was wearing at that point. Those little shorts that she had on.
Or the needle. Like after Spader stabbed it, he very, very slightly just like pulled up the thing a little bit. So he got a bit of Thatcher in the needle, and that's what he took with him.
Well, did you see the way he meticulously put the needle like back into a little test tube and took it away with him? I mean, that I would say that goes without saying that Spader still has the needle.
Maybe what he decided to do was he's like, one day the technology will exist for me to be able to clone Terry Hatcher's arse, and I need genetic material in order to recreate this arse.
Terry Hatcher's arse needle.
Terry Hatcher's arse gene.
Yeah.
That's what he took. That's what's in the Sleazatorium, is that like displayed like that needle.
Yeah.
Like, and floating in the middle of it is a tiny piece of skin, and it's like Terry Hatcher's arse gene. Yeah.
Because I feel like we've already put a towel in. Like, I feel like a towel has already been put in.
I can't remember whose towel it was, but yeah, he put a towel in.
Yeah, there's already been a towel in the sleeves.
No, it's got to be...
He wouldn't want to double down on it.
Yeah. It's got to be the needle that went into Hatcher's arse in the hope that one day he'll be able to clone that arse.
Yeah.
And then stroke it like a cat in a Bond film. Like, it won't be attached to anything. It'll just be like an arse.
Do you think in the display case where the thing is, he also has the rubber gloves that he's worn throughout the film as well, like just the little latex gloves, just as an accent, not as the main attraction of the 2 days in the Valley.
We might have talked about this before. Actually, I feel like he's worn gloves in a movie before, but I still maintain that any visitor, including Spader, to the Sleazatorium must first put on latex gloves before they're allowed to handle or even be in the same room, because all of these souvenirs are imbued with such erotic power that the need to touch them and even put them inside yourself is so strong that you have to wear gloves so that you are not contaminated by the addictive sleaze that emanates from each and every one of the souvenirs.
I've also got to think that with everyone wearing masks and gloves right now, Spader's got to be incredibly used to that, because I feel like that's probably what you have to wear when you enter his home.
Yeah,
just in
certainly
general.
Sleazatorium. Yes, definitely. Yeah, because again, if you breathe it in or if you touch it, I think you're finished. I think there's probably like a room, not in Spader's house, although he will go and visit them, but there's a room in an asylum near Spader's house where people that have taken off their mask or their gloves while in the Sleazatorium have gone mad from the eroticism and have been locked away. And every month, Spader goes with a flouncy scarf and a tiny cup of coffee and sits there and watches them be mad.
Yeah, well, it's the insane asylum from Dream Lover, is what it is.
Yeah, that's probably where they filmed it.
That's probably where they filmed it.
He probably bought the asylum. He's probably like, there's like the Spader wing. Do you know what I mean? There's like an asylum where it's got like the Spader wing that he's like donated, and he dug a little fucking thing, right, and put the stone down. But the only people there are people that have been driven mad because they took off their protective equipment in the Sleazatorium, and they are now lost. They're never coming out.
No.
They're finished. They're lost to humanity.
I hope that when he dies, he donates his tongue to the Smithsonian. I really do. I feel like his tongue needs to be preserved somewhere. I don't know why, but I'm just putting it out there as a thought.
I don't think so. I think Spader's tongue will be put in a box, and the next time we send out one of those like Voyager satellites containing, you know what I mean, like here's a blues record, here's like a Leonardo da Vinci painting, and here's James Spader's tongue. Like that's the only fitting end. Do you know what I mean? For his tongue is to sail across the cosmos in pursuit, right, of outer space eroticism, in the hope that one day someone will pick up his tongue, you know what I mean, and like rub it on them. Yeah. An alien will like rub his tongue. Yeah.
An alien who has erogenous zones on their face will rub the tongue against it and become. Yeah.
So... They will be destroyed by an erotic plague brought by Spader's tongue. Yeah. They will be wiped out. Like they will find a civilization collapsed on a planet somewhere, and in the middle of all of it will be a box with a tongue on it. And somehow, you won't be able to know, but somehow it seems like the tongue is laughing. You know what I mean? Yes. Amidst the desolation, the erotic desolation it's caused.
Okay. Well, I like that, and I feel like that is a fitting way to end Sleazy Spader Springtime 5, the first episode. We have 3 more episodes. We are hopefully going to be doing The Stick-Up, Crash, and Shadow of Fear.
I don't know about Shadow of Fear. I wouldn't mind trying to maybe find another one, only because I've never liked those movies where... I'm not a big fan of movies where like people they hit someone with a car, or they do something wrong and they panic, and then the whole rest of the movie is them trying to like clean up their mess and them getting into like.
It's a very specific type of movie that Jim doesn't like.
Yeah, well, there's lots of them, but that's one of them that I'm not a big. I mean, like anytime anyone wants to get from one end of a boat to another, I will watch that film. Anytime anybody goes to a house that's lived in by a strange inbred family, I will watch that film. But I can't be doing with films where somebody hits somebody with their car and makes a wrong decision in the heat of the moment, and then spends the rest of the movie trying to clean up that mess. They fucking bore me, those movies.
Is that what Shadow of Fear is about then?
I think that's what it's about, yeah.
Have you watched the trailer?
No, I just read the synopsis.
Okay. Well, the only other one that got as many votes in the Sleazy Spader Springtime poll, which for Spader's benefit was spelt Pole, is True Colors, the movie he did with John Cusack.
All right, we can do that. I came across one that had Stoltz in it again. What the fuck was it called? It was on Roku, and it was a Spader Stoltz movie. I don't know why I want to watch more fucking Eric Stoltz movies, but
yeah, I don't know why either. Eric Stoltz is awful. There's a reason why he wasn't Marty McFly. It's because he's awful. They go, oh, he's too intense. He's not intense. He's awful.
He is. He is pretty bad.
Do you know what movie it is then?
Oh, Keys to Tulsa, I think.
Yeah, Keys to Tulsa. We could do that one. It's on the list.
Yeah.
What's hilarious is I actually managed to pick. I like Keys to Tulsa because it looks like Spader has a dirt stash in it.
Yeah.
But it could also mean that Eric Stoltz is. It looks like Eric Stoltz is the one who's sleazy in it. But oh my God, Spader looks.
No, look at Spader.
Look at Spader.
I'd like to give Keys to Tulsa a try. Plus, it's 96 again.
Okay. Stoltz and Spader just knocking about the backwards of Hollywood.
Yeah,
making
apparently.
All sorts of bollocks movies.
Yeah, right. So, I'll happily do that one.
Oh, my God. Although, I hate to say it, there looks to be Stoltz nakedness in it.
Well, but that's all part of the...
It looks like a Stoltz movie that Spader is in for, like, one scene, is what it looks like.
Oh, really?
Kind of. And it has Deborah Kara Unger in it, who is the woman who stars opposite him in Crash. Which is odd. We can watch that.
Colours. I'm happy to do like Cusack and Spader. That'd be fine.
I could do Keys to Tulsa as well. The other one, which is hilarious, is I bought on VHS of all things the I've got to remember what it is now. The Mini Driver James Spader movie. I found it on VHS. Slow Burn. I found it on VHS for like $1. And I have that on VHS. And like, it's never been voted for. And I'm like, but I actually own that one.
So what's that about?
It's I don't know. The tagline is lust, greed, betrayal. A distinguished explorer finds herself stranded in the Mexican desert with 2 escaped convicts and a stash of diamonds.
Yes. No, we have to do that one.
Really?
Yes. And that's also free on Roku. That's on like Vudu or somewhere. That's free. I can watch that. Let's do that one. I want to do that one. Let's do that one. Crash, if we can get it, and the stick up.
If we can't do Crash, let's do Keys to Tulsa.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
All right. Done. I'd actually rather do Keys to Tulsa than Crash.
I'd rather do Crash because I've never seen it.
Oh, okay. All right. If I can find Crash for us, I'll get Crash for us.
I just think it's odd that I couldn't even, it wasn't anywhere on Roku. It wasn't even like follow this movie, which leads me to believe that like maybe they've been funny about it. The
only reason, and I'll do Crash. I'm happy to do Crash, especially if you're happy to do all 4 films, but, or willing. I don't know, happy, but willing. No, the only reason I'd always taken Crash and Secretary off the table is that he is meant to be sleazy in those films. Like, do you know what I mean? Like he is, but we can still talk about it. It's fine. But no, I'm excited about Dirt Stash Spader in either Keys to Tulsa or Slow Burn, either one.
Cool. Also, like watching a VHS is its own joy.
Yes. But I feel like I'm kind of more leaning towards Keys to Tulsa just because it's the 90s. And I had this theory. I was looking at Spader's resume earlier. And while a lot of people equate Spader with the sort of outer fringes of the Brat Pack in the 80s, I feel like the 90s was Spader's decade. I feel like the 90s was really where Spader came in.
Showed up, was sleazy, got paid a fat pile of cash and buggered off again. That's his modus operandi. And he wasn't like a bald, aging Lothario weirdo.
Well, no, because I looked at the 2000s and he starts the 2000s strong, but it trails off very quickly. And if you include the end of the, I think, is Sex, Lies and Videotapes 89?
Think so, yeah. Which I've also never seen.
We did that already. We did that.
Well, I'm sure you did. It's one of the ones I've never seen.
A couple of Sleazy Spaders ago, we did that. But I feel from like 89 through to 2001, that's your Spader sweet spot.
Yeah, all right. Well, I know. I'm happy to go Keys to Tulsa instead of Crash. I am. Because Keys to Tulsa is free. Slow Burn is free. And you're going to send me the other one, so that's fine.
I'm just more excited to do like the depths of Spader. I want to see.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
But don't promise something like if 3 movies in you're like, fuck, can we watch a good movie please? We'll do Crash.
That's fine. It's not like I'm not watching movies. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's not quite the same as going to the cinema and intentionally watching only terrible films. Like, it's fine for me to watch a bit of Spader sleaziness once a week.
Okay. And I mean what I say. If we continue to do this in isolation past Sleazy Spader Springtime, then you get to pick all the films. That's your gift for sitting through 4 Spader films with me.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, I'm heading out. Thanks very much. This was a great episode. I feel like we teed it off.
That's true. Yep, good call.
We potted the ball and other sporting metaphors.
That's how they go. That's how the metaphors go, the sporting metaphors. Being very familiar with them.
Take care, Chief, and thanks again.
All right, thanks, man. See you soon.
Today, in the Valley of Sleep, in the Valley of Sleep. It's so humid, there's not even a breeze. In the Valley of Sleep, you'll be brought to your knees. Beg and say please, but there is no way out of this valley of sleep. I spent 2 long days in the valley of sleep. I spent 48 hours in the Valley of Sleep. And Spader was the mayor. He held the cuffs and the key. And Danny Aiello was there, oh yeah, in the Valley of Sleep. It contaminated everything, even the most pungent of cheese. It got all into my lungs and caused me to weep. And it all turned out to be one terrible tease. And after 2 long days, that was an eternal thanks to Spader's help and to frightened Pekingese, I found